What is going on, everybody?
Hello!
It is Pixel Partners here, and welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney 2. When we left off, we have revealed that our thought was true.
Yes, our theory was correct.
Gossip was Mr. Boone, who was also
Virgil.
Mr. Daily Vigil.
Vigil. I said Virgil this time.
You did what I did last time.
Dang it! Dang it! No, it's spreading!
Yep, he was the prison warder, and Sogi's trying to get some info out of him because when we read the paperwork 10 years ago, he let the professor escape.
Sogi's dad. And as we were just getting ready to record, I was staring at Ryu's name tag there, and I'm just like, Uno is in the middle of his name.
Oh my god.
Can you imagine these characters playing Uno?
That'd be too much chaos.
Sherlock would be a nightmare.
So now, Mr. Vigil is saying that, I forgot about why I left 10 years ago. But it's all in your paperwork here, buddy.
And we finally read the thing.
So we're gonna go send that, and we're gonna tell him about, hey, your paperwork says, and I quote, I resigned from my role at the prison, or you said, no, he was saying, I resigned from my role at the prison 10 years ago. Well, yes. In other words, you claim to have left the post of chief warder of your own volition. Well, yes, of course. Why? Tell me. Do you remember seeing this document before? No, I don't. This is a dismissal notice ordering the immediate termination of a prison staff member's employment. A dismissal notice? And the name on the notice is yours, Mr. Vigil.
Boy, we've got some...
What? It's mine?
We've got some
Mine?
huge tea to spill for you, Asogi.
So you didn't resign from the prison service at all?
It's like one of those, like, what do you call it? Is it a big gulp cup? Or whatever? Yeah. That size.
For some reason, you were dismissed as chief warder from Barclay. No, there's been some mistake. I'm sure. I'm sure I tendered my resignation. This dismissal notice is nonsense.
Bruh.
Oh, isn't it?
You good?
If you were forcibly dismissed, there must have been good reason. Maybe it was something he traumatized himself with and
he really
suppressed
did
it.
just, yeah.
It must have been for good reason. Clearly, you did something. Mr. Vigil, it's time to break the seal and have you remember. Oh.
This is weird music. I think we've heard this before.
No, this is new.
Yeah.
According to the few remaining records, the final execution that you supervised on the 17th of June 10 years ago was on 17th June 10 years ago. And on that day, something very serious took place at Barclay Prison. The 17th of June. Was that the professor's execution? Professor? As you were the chief warder at the time, it stands to reason that you would have been present throughout the proceedings. I have an idea. It's not really anything giant, but... An
idea or a theory?
Well, it's not like an overreaching theory, but I don't think it's suppression. I think that it was amnesia of sorts.
Huh.
I think that people involved in that case, because remember that the government claims the professor was executed.
Mm-hmm.
Without a doubt. Dead. Plain as day, in private, people saw it, he was dead. We know that's not the case. And over here, homeboy, he's about to have his memory come back, I'm having a feeling. Because I think people that are forced to remember it, like Kazuma, he lost his memory until he saw his father, the professor.
Yeah.
Like, he was completely brain dead until he saw that, and then everything jogged back up. And I think that's what's going to happen to Mr. Vigil over there, is I think that someone probably wiped his memory so that he would forget the fact of what happened to keep under secret the fact of what happened with the professor. Now, how things played out afterwards still, I have no idea, but I think that someone in a high office, maybe Male Strongheart, piece of shit, are like, you know, people that might have known the truth was wiping their memories if they couldn't be kept under
just
wraps.
like hypnotize them or something?
I don't know, I'm sure they had some kind of medical shit back then. I don't know. Anyways, he went in prison through the proceedings.
So he lost his memories from being hit in the head or whatever.
It does sound familiar. I think that was just, I'm pretty sure someone wiped his memory. Like, and yet that execution never took place. The convict ostensibly executed earlier that day later reemerged from his grave. The convict came back to life. In the cemetery in the middle of the night, there was a witness.
However, the witness claims that a moment after he saw the convict clambering out of his grave, a gunshot rang out from over his shoulder, and the bullet pierced the professor's chest, killing him instantly.
It's still such a weird part.
Those may have been the professor's actual last moments.
Yes. Seeing as you were in charge of overseeing executions at the time, you must have known the truth about what really happened. It's in your head, somewhere deep down. Well, Chief Warder Daily Vigil, I know there are memories in your head that can explain what happened on 17th June 10 years ago. And now it's time for you to drag them up. Mr. Vigil?
He's acting real weird, man.
Pops. Yes. The whole prison. It was complete chaos. The prisoner escaped. He was killed in the cemetery. The shocking news ripped through Barclay like a hurricane. What? What?
Order! 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 Do you mean to say, Mr. Vigil, that your memories of the time have returned?
My head, it's like some floodgates have been opened. The images, the screams.
Oh, my goodness.
The papers. There were reports, articles about a man who'd seen a ghost. Yes, Enoch Drebber.
But surely those reports were exaggerated.
There were traces at the scene.
Traces of what?
In Willgate Cemetery at plot number 139. Blood. Lots of blood. It's where the man was buried, of course. Obviously, something terrible had happened there.
The depths of conspiracy and depravity from which this tale is emerging are quite staggering.
I reviewed the police records for that time extensively. A thorough investigation was conducted by Scotland Yard to ascertain how the convict managed to escape in the first place. And the conclusion reached by the investigating team was that a member of the prison staff must have been involved.
Are you suggesting that the prison warder abetted a man's bid for freedom?
That was you, buddy.
Yes, and I was suspected of doing it. Of using that mass murderer's execution as a way to help him escape.
You good, dude?
You did what? I remember now. The horror of it all is coming back to me.
You spin me right
One evening,
round.
a few days after the execuation, some detectives came to the prison. It was called the governor's office
spinning
at the top
faster.
of the watchtower. It was like a top. Woo, woo, woo. Oh, this is you.
Ooh. Oh yeah, I'm sorry, Daly. This is a serious business, but I kinda help you now. As Chief Warder, you were responsible for overseeing the execution afore, eh? Well, it seems the fellows at Scotland Yard want to have a few wee words with you about it. You'd better pack your things, laddie. You're to attend in person.
As soon as he told me that, my mind just went completely blank.
He's really good. Oh my god, dude.
The next thing I knew,
That can't be good for your neck.
Professor, the most hated killer in our country's history. And I let him escape. And finish. My life is over. And he yeeted himself out the window?
That's a hell of a scream.
Ah. And now he's dead.
So he went out the window and I guess lost his memory that way?
Order! Bailiff, fetch a doctor at once!
I mean, I don't know for sure. But,
The court is adjourned for today with immediate effect.
So, with Mr. Vigil's collapse, proceedings came to an abrupt end for the day.
oh, hi.
Once again overshadowed by the legacy of that notorious killer, appearing like a cursed ghost ship on a foggy ocean. Lord Van Zeeks, Mr. Vigil, Kazuma, and Gregson. All of them bound by invisible chains anchored to the same wreckage in the murky depths of the past. But the miraculous light that had been trying to cut through the gloom and shine on those tragic events was playing on the edges of the truth at last.
Ooh boy.
Fancy. Well,
Ooh.
what a day.
What a day. To be
What a
continued
day
right
we
now.
had. Yeah, we'll save the progress and see where the hell that's gonna take us. Yeah, that, well. Okay.
Ooh-wee.
The way it was saying it almost makes it sound like it makes it almost sound like he also maybe didn't even have a partner, but he was being just accused of it.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's just the fact of him not remembering it fully yet, but he
or
was
him
kind of
being a
saying it
scapegoat.
because he's more along the lines of saying of like, you know, he was being accused of it. So I don't know if he actually did help or not, but I mean,
Only one way to know.
yep. We'll find out in the future because I'm sure we're just gonna go
Yeah.
deal with Holmes. So I still can't quite believe what just happened.
I know. I inquired with the bailiff after the court session was adjourned, and it seems Mr. Vigil was taken to hospital to recover.
Right. 10 years ago now, Mr. Vigil attempted to commit suicide by jumping out of the window of the prison governor's office. But ever since then, he's completely blocked the memory of those events from his mind.
Jeez.
Nobody knew his secret. Not his family, not even the man himself. But I forced it out into the open. Was it wrong of me to do that? Did I ever step the mark, I wonder?
Nah, man. Need the truth. Ryu!
Oh, Iris! Powered.
Choking on Powerade again.
Yes!
You were miles away. Anyway, I've brewed a fresh pot of soothing tea for you. No more of that Powerade stuff.
Oh, thank you.
Too much sugar. You and Susie have had an exhausting day so far, haven't you?
It's better than Mountain Dew. Like Holmes always has.
What? Oh, God, no. That explains a lot. He does love coffee. Does he combine the two?
Christ.
Yes, he does. I've seen it.
Did you read the O?
Oh. Too engrossed in the bit. Thank you, Iris. How thoughtful of you.
Do you happen to know where Mr. Holmes is? When we came out of the courtroom back to the defendant's antechamber,
Antechamber.
he disappeared.
Oh, no, I don't know. He just suddenly sprang to his feet and left. All he said was, I must leave. I wonder if he's pursuing the mystery of Inspector Gregson's death.
Oh, you know it.
Well, you know what Holmesy's always saying, don't you?
There's a theater of logic and reason just around the corner somewhere.
There are mysteries in this world that should perhaps never be solved. But the construction of a solution comes only at the expense of the destruction of something else.
What does that mean?
He knows very well that when you open someone else's old wounds, you often open your own too. He just can't take his own advice and leave well alone. Solving mysteries is too important to him.
That's so true.
But that's what I like about Holmesy after all.
I suppose that's the lot of great detective in some ways.
So then, let's have tea, and then I'll give you a hand.
Oh, do you have time, Iris?
Yes, I finished this month's manuscript at last. With barely a day to spare before the deadline. Oh, I'm so looking forward to it. A brand new story to read in the adventures of Sherlock Holmes. You know, I always hide Holmesy's violin in the days before I have a deadline.
You do? Poor Mr. Holmes.
So she can focus.
Yeah.
I'm sure that that's very wise, Iris. How sensible of you. Now then, my dear fellows. Let's make a plan of action before we continue our investigation.
Okay.
Oh
Hi.
boy.
Do you want
Cutie
to talk about
patootie.
this morning's trial?
So, how did it go in court this morning?
Well, we still don't know the truth about what really happened, but one thing's increasingly clear. Forensics definitely didn't do it.
How could he?
I don't necessarily know that we've made that clear at all. We're just opening up
Yeah.
floodgates to other shit, but we still haven't made Van Zieks clear on anything yet. Let's be honest here.
But we know for certain he didn't do it.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. We managed to uncover several new facts as well. Oh, really?
And there was another development too. Cosima.
Yes, it's quite clear now that Kazuma-sama is not himself. The way he's acting, it's almost as if he's possessed.
By vengeance. I know. I mean, at the end of the proceedings earlier, it was like a bloodhound in the way he was chasing down Mr. Vigil's forgotten past.
For real.
He's not normally so mercilessly persistent. What's going on in his head, I wonder? Vengeance! Like Batman. I really need to sit down with Cosima and try to understand what he's going through. Good luck with that. Reaper's innocence. Gregson was really murdered the day before his body was discovered. But Van Zieks has to be innocent, you see?
What? The day before? Well, that should be easy enough to work out. Just by examining the corpse, surely. Yes, you would expect so, but curiously, no time of death was included in the autopsy report.
Isn't that just fucking peachy?
Yeah.
Ugh.
That is curious.
There's still unanswered questions about Lord Van Zieks, though, aren't there?
Do you mean...
I mean, what was he doing there on Fresno Street that day in the first place?
Well, according to the man's testimony, he said he was investigating Inspector Gregson, didn't he?
And it turns out that that little room was actually the inspector's secret office.
Ooh, that sounds like it has all the makings of a wonderfully devilish plot.
Yeah, put it in your damn notebook. But then, why was that notice board in there covered in all those particular papers? There was like cases that with the link to the Reaper. I'm starting to get a bad feeling about all this.
Oh dear, that sounds more like something horribly devilish. We must start by looking into Inspector Gregson's movements of late.
I'll bet that Gregson was probably focusing more on the fact of trying to find out who really was, you know, being quote unquote the Reaper by the person killing everyone that was involved in those cases.
Yeah.
Because he probably wanted to, because we know that he was close with Van Zieks and his brother from the picture, so he probably wanted to clear Van Zieks' name. That's what he was working on.
Watch it be Kazuma's dad that's going around killing these people.
Wouldn't that be ironic? And then that makes you wonder who was the professor that was killed in the gravestone. Anyways, Gregson's movements. Never imagined I never imagined I might have to be investigating Inspector's movements.
You good?
Yeah.
Well, according to the entry in his diary, he was carrying out an incognito investigation. That was
We're both doing horribly right now.
of the Red-Headed League the day before his death. Oh, you mean he was doing the same as Holmesy?
Well, Mr. Holmes was trying to apply, whereas the inspector was supposed to be investigating.
I do wish it had been the other way around.
Anyway, as it turns out, the inspector who went to investigate the Red-Headed League that day wasn't actually Gregson at all. It was Mr. Vigil in possession of Gregson's identification.
You know what that sounds like to me? Establishing an alibi. Oh my. Yes, you're absolutely right, Iris.
But why would Gregson need an alibi?
It would appear that the inspector had something to do he wished to keep secret. I don't believe it. I always thought he was just a harmless lover of fish and chips.
But perhaps they were seasoned with something a little more potent than salt and vinegar. Like some hot sauce.
Oh god. I think perhaps we should try to move away from food analogies.
Well, anyways, if Lord Van Zeeks felt the need to investigate Gregson...
Yes, I agree. We must try to find out what he knows.
That's a good point I didn't think of beforehand when everything's going on. It's the fact of Gregson was more or less like not really having Vigil go out and do like secret things. He was having Vigil go out and do normal things.
He was
so that
just
Gregson could essentially just be...
He was just having him be somewhere.
Yeah, so that he would be like, oh, I'm over investigating that, when he was out doing some frisky shit out there, man.
Who knows?
Anyway, Mr. Vigil's condition.
Vigil, you say? Isn't that the name of the lady who came to visit Holmesy yesterday? I almost said the wrong name. That's right. To ask Mr. Holmes if he would help her to find her missing husband.
Only Mr. Holmes could really pass the buck to us.
Yep.
Actually, didn't you say that Mr. Vigil had been taken to the hospital? You know which one?
Ah! It's St. Sinners.
I'm starting to wonder if all the other hospitals in London just closed down. Or if we couldn't hire them to make another friggin' hospital room.
That's amazing, Riri! You found the lady's husband already!
Well, I suppose I have. By accident.
And 10 years ago, while Mr. Vigil was the chief warder at the prison, he was responsible for overseeing the professor's incarceration. No!
There's more. So when the convicted escapist... So when the convict escaped, holy shit, he was held responsible and immediately dismissed. Holy shit. I'm reset.
You can't talk, can you, Ryu?
Nope.
Sometimes I really don't want to grow up.
Me either. There's more. For 10 years after that, while he was essentially working as a peddler, he also had another secret job.
I love how after you did the "there's more" bit, Ryu said "there's more."
Yeah. He was paid by Gregson to be his stand-in, to impersonate the inspector.
To impersonate Toby? But why?
I have absolutely no idea.
Jean Bean was right. I'm starting to think all adults are up to no good now. Including you, Ryu.
I haven't paid anyone to impersonate me.
Except someone named Evan in the future.
Wait, hold on.
That means he has ties to the professor and to Inspector Gregson, though. So I do think we ought to pay a visit to Mr. Vigil, don't you?
Back to St. Sinners, then. Oh, fucking great.
It's all the
great.
same hospital. Well, I think it's clear that what we need to do, isn't it? Let us investigate, my dear fellows! Oh, Iris! You're even more enthusiastic than usual today. If anyone is anything to hide, my special Wilson shooting iron will soon set them straight. I almost said shoot them straight, but you know.
I mean, that water pistol?
It's not a water pistol, you sweet summer child. It's a real live bullet. It's stuffed full of a piping hot extra special blend of mine.
It's gunpowder.
Then I'm quite sure it will be very effective.
I'd better be careful not to hide anything.
It's full of scorching hot tea!
Well, it feels a little strange that Mr. Holmes is nowhere to be seen, but still, let's go and see what we can find out.
I'm worried about him.
Let's go get this scorching hot tea, sis. Yeah, yes. Okay. So. Oh, there's some they won't even let us go to. They're just grayed out in general, but so there could be stuff going on at Chief Justice's office, but let's follow everything and we'll go visit Mr. Vigil. And can't wait to see that he's
so
like dead or transferred.
About whatever is happening with Sherlock. Because for him to just straight up say, I must leave, and that's it, and then leave.
Well, doing it, he's just kind of like, I found your husband.
Oh,
Give me your money.
You know that's not.
I know. Huh. Well,
Because we know that Sherlock definitely knows more than he's letting on.
Yeah.
He knows things, and he's not telling us.
I do believe we do not have Mr. Vigil here, so these must be patient treatment notes. Let's see. Tendency to jump from windows. Remember to place cushion at base of wall outside.
Wow.
Aren't we a story up from the ground here?
Oh dear. Poor Mr. Vigil.
And I'm feeling that there's a better solution to the problem than a cushion, though. Finding something you'd lost isn't always a happy experience, it turns out. Pursuing the truth can be a very dark business sometimes, can't it?
Yes, I'm afraid it can. How about lock the window?
Did he jump out the window? Where is the fucker right now? Who's the bedmate? Who's over here? Patient treatment notes. What do these say, I wonder? Endlessly obliging. Suppose that's referring to the patient in this bed.
Huh. I would think so, and until Mr. Vigil is a little more stable. It's probably just as well that he has a kindly person in a neighboring bed.
The endlessly part is a little worrying, though, isn't it? I mean, what if Mr. Vigil suddenly declared that he'd like to take a trip out of the window? Would this endlessly obliging patient simply open it for him and say, "Be my guest"?
Let's check with the doctor later.
So I guess we've come here for nothing. Because
check the wall.
I mean, I think it's just gonna be like the medicine. There are all sorts of medicines in this cabinet, look. I'm not sure if it's safe leaving them in reach of everyone like this.
Yes, you're right. I can imagine if you were peckish, you might try some of the pills.
Well, at least there seems to be a little lock to secure the cabinet doors.
I don't imagine that would stop you if you were hungry. I worry that you'd break the lock.
Hunger doesn't turn me into a criminal, you know, Miss Susato. Yeah, there really anything. There's just this motto on the wall, and that's it. This notice caught my eye before, actually.
Motto? I suppose it's some sort of slogan for the ward? A cheerful welcome message, perhaps.
Let's see. Pay with good cheer, leave with good cheer. Well, look at that. You were spot on, Miss Suso. It's full of cheer.
I wonder how many discharged patients pay their medical bills with good cheer, though.
Absolutely zero. Unless cheer is what they call 100 pounds. But once I had to have a very painful injection when I fell ill with the cold. Felt awful already, despite after suffering from the stink injection as well as the bill. I yelled at the doctor.
Oh dear. What terrible treatment.
I know.
Of the doctor. Why'd you yell at him? He was helping you.
He did not help shit. That's not important. Well, there's crutches.
Yeah.
Oh look, a pair of crutches. Before I came to Britain, I hadn't realized they were used here as well.
I imagine they were imported into Japan from Great Britain in the first place.
Oh, so no one in all Japan broke a leg before their arrival? Anyway, the sight of these things doesn't bring back good memories for me.
Oh dear, did you injure yourself once and need to use some?
When I was little, it felt like fun, so I borrowed a pair to play with.
Oh no.
But then I slipped and sprained my ankle.
I see.
They contain powerful magic, those wooden staffs. The power to heal and the power to harm.
I think a certain cheeky little boy managed to cause the harm all by himself.
No! Oh, I hit the thing again by accident. Whoops.
Oh my god. He was playing with crutches and ironically needed crutches.
Alright, just in case. Yeah, I'll check this last cabinet.
Yeah.
Just make sure there's no trigger missing. Lots of balls in that cabinet there, aren't there? Do you think it's safe to keep them there?
Oh, if you were a patient here, I'd feel sure you'd take some medicine by mistake if you were half asleep. Like me, I'm half asleep.
That is a worry, but at least the cabinet has a lock, even if it's a flimsy looking one.
Oh, I've no doubt you managed to unlock that somehow while you were half asleep as well.
There are limits even to what I can do when I'm half asleep, you know, Miss Susato.
Are there?
No.
I've seen you make an entire sandwich while half asleep.
Well, I was supposed to go to the hospital. No one's at the hospital. I'm gonna go check out the justice's office. We might find a Sogi there. I don't know.
Yep.
There he is. Speak of the devil. And let me guess, he's being told, no. What have you done? I'm taking you off the case.
That's a cane? He looks like he's about to freaking hit him with it.
No arguments, Prosecutor Osogi. You continue with the trial exactly as I instructed. Is that clear?
Good boy.
perfectly.
It's Kazuma-sama.
Defying with Strongheart by the sound of it. He never did know when to back down. On your way now, Asogi. My lord.
Kazuma's like, I could kill you right
I
now.
did a boo-boo.
I did.
Kazuma? And he walks away. He left without saying a word. Yes, what are you doing here?
We're here to murder you.
I was just
what?
hoping to ask you a few questions if you wouldn't mind. I wanted Van Zeeks' trial concluded today. The prosecutor Sogi's unwelcome inquiries are going to make it take longer than necessary. Unwelcome inquiries? As a result, I'm losing even more precious time. Currently 2 hours, 55 minutes, and 41 seconds. 42, 43, 44, 45,
And we must resolve everything before 3 hours
46,
have passed, Mr.
47,
Naruto.
48, and a miraculous not even 5 minutes. Anyway, I can't let the man's obvious bad mood put me off. I need information.
Spill the beans!
And we're gonna see if the beans will be spilled next time.
Oh boy.
Sometimes it's not gonna be easy to spill those beans.
Yeah, no.
He's a little bit upset right now because he's
Yeah.
got a symposium to run and all that. But now the trial's gonna go on during the symposium, and we're gonna pull his ass in because I bet he's got something to do with this shit.
This man irritates me.
Listen, the very first impression I saw, you're evil as fuck, dog.
He really is! I mean, look at him!